Hey, good morning, everybody, and thanks for tuning in to That Business Show with Jamie Meloni, where business becomes show business. Want to give one final call. You've heard me mention it many times, but tonight is Christmas in July, so people, please attend. We'd love to see you out there, 5 to 8:30 over at T. Pepin Center. Tickets $29, $19 if you're a TBBO member, and you can pick up tickets over at tbbo.org/CIJ. And so come out and enjoy some tequila drinks from our drink sponsor, Mr. Margarita, where they bring the party to us, and it's also presented in conjunction with our sponsor, the Tampa Bay Business Journal. Good discussion coming up here in this first hour. It's going to be all about talking apps in this first hour. So I got Brian Kornfeld coming up here in just a second, founder and CEO of Popkorn Apps. And then I got the team of Thomas and Andreas Newark. They are founders of the Kingo app. Interesting little app, and it's gotten funding from Silicon Valley as well. So you definitely want to stay tuned to hear about their success story and what they're doing with this neat little app. It's pretty interesting talk coming up at 7:30. But up first, I got Brian Kornfeld, again, founder and CEO of Popkorn Apps. You can learn more about him throughout the discussion over at popcornapps.com. Be sure to put a K in popcorn. Brian, welcome back to the program today.
Hey, good morning, Jamie.
Now, Brian, you do app design through Popcorn Apps, but you're more than just an app developer. There's a lot of different components of your company. So tell us a little bit more about Popcorn Apps.
So Popcorn Apps was really founded and based, centralized around app design, but I also like to think about it as its own little incubator, in a sense, where we can connect you, take your idea and help get you to the next level, not just help get the idea designed, get it out on to market. We can help connect you to the right legal team. We can help try to connect you to different funding sources in the area. We can help connect and bring it all together, because an idea is just a place for it to start. And I was actually talking to somebody about this the other day who said, why don't you do more than just app design? And it was someone who wasn't too familiar with the business. And I started going through all the different layers of what we could do and the different resources that can come together, and even small things like filing a trademark for the business, or how to get a business filed for people who are brand new to entrepreneurship and they don't necessarily know the channels to go through correctly. Make sure that you're personally protected all the way through, end to end. It's important to do those types of things. You want to make sure that if somebody tries to sue your business, they can only get to your business funds and they can't actually get to all of your personal money.
Yeah, and this is stuff that you've done for a number of different app, people who've come to you with that app idea, and so you definitely know. You kind of like become like the CEO, kind of back end of the company. They're handling this type of legal stuff. You're making sure that that they do the filings and the registrations and all that stuff.
I wouldn't call it a CEO because I like the person who comes to the idea to be the CEO. I like them to have the final decision.
So COO, maybe COO.
It's more of a COO or the second level down, maybe a couple of different. If you think about a regular organizational chart, a couple different spots there. CTO, Chief Technology Officer, Chief Operating Officer. But try to make sure that the boxes are checked, and that if somebody does come prepared to say, hey, I'd like to invest in your company, you have everything that's prepared and ready. You have all the financials that you might need. You have all the questions that you're ready to answer. And someone that's a client of mine is actually pitching today to try to get on the Shark Tank show, which is really interesting. I'm wishing her the best of luck, and
she put a lot of effort into that pitch.
She's put a ton into it, and it's great. And to be able to help and to contribute and be able to hear and give honest feedback, those are the types of services that Popcorn Apps will offer, beyond just a high-quality development.
Now, you mentioned helping with funding sources. Finding funding is a challenge. I mean, and I complain about this a lot of times about Tampa Bay. We got a lot of great entrepreneurs, but it's difficult to find those funding sources. And we're going to hear from a success story here in the 7:30 hour, where they went over to Silicon Valley, where there's plenty of money over there. We got to get some of that money here in Tampa Bay, because there's some tremendous entrepreneurs here in Tampa Bay. But tell us a little bit more about funding availability. I know tech is in demand, so if you've got an idea out there, you're at least in the right industry here with tech.
Tech is very much in demand, and the different funding sources in Tampa Bay are really starting to come around now. I would say that in the last few years, it's hard for somebody who's newer to venture capitalism or investing to understand what is something that's pre-revenue or not making any money, and how do you put a valuation behind it compared to what that future valuation might be, and how much money you can bring in just based on eyes that are in an app and user base. So it's all about the education and making sure that that connection can fully be there. And then as they start to invest in 1, 2, 3, 4, it starts to, I don't want to say become an addiction, but almost becomes an addiction, where they want more and more in small pieces of a whole bunch of different companies. And it all depends on what and how much you're looking for and at what stage you're in. It's really not as difficult as people would think to get $20,000-$50,000 worth of funding these days. It's the next level when you're looking for $100,000, $200,000, $500,000. That's going to be a little bit more difficult, but there's some new groups that are starting to pop up that are investing more and more in the different companies, and I'm working hard at building the connections. I have connections into 2 of them as we speak, and we're working on getting different pitches and getting different businesses in front of them. And as your business grows, I'm going to help grow with you and help you get to that point and help you get that funding and reel it in.
Would an investor help fund the development of the app, or are they going to want to see the product after it's already designed? And then I know you can come in there and really shave off a lot of the overhead and the costs that people associate with app design. I mean, I know before I met you, I thought app design cost in excess of 6 figures, and you've since schooled me that it can come in significantly less. But where would an investor likely get involved with an app?
Usually an investor wants to have, especially in this area, wants to have something that they can feel, play, touch with. They don't want to just come off an idea. Other areas, Silicon Valley, Chicago's of the world, you might be able to get away with it. There's a lot more seed money that gets thrown around. Mm-hmm. But in Tampa, it's better to have something. It's better to have a demo. It's better to have a prototype. It's better to have a version 1.0. Be able to get to market, and then you can start to share your vision from there and see where you want to grow to and how you want to start to build up that user base. So I like to recommend to people to go through a lean method, cut out a lot of the waste, cut out a lot of the extra crap, get to that initial version where you can get to market. Whether I like to recommend people be on both iOS and Android. That way you're getting more users and you can start to show user growth to an investor, because that's going to mean a lot. And if you could start to show those initial stages, that's the bait that goes on the hook. And that's beyond just the bait that goes on the hook. It's really the way that you're reeling in the fish, and you have to throw the rod out a certain way, and maybe with the different worms you have to jiggle them in. Mm-hmm. And that's the best way to really, in this, and especially in the Tampa Bay market, to pull in the investors. Now,
you've worked on a number of different app ideas and designs, and so what opportunities are out there for app ideas, and or what I kind of should say is, what are people doing too much of with apps, and where are they kind of lacking in terms of like industries it serves? Yeah, then we see things like Pokemon Go that kind of take off.
I have so many thoughts about Pokemon Go, and it's an amazing craze, and I'm really interested to see, because of the way it was designed as a platform, to see what stems from that as the next wave that can actually build into Pokemon Go to help drive it to the next level. I'm hoping nothing. And if you're listening and you're playing Pokemon Go while you're driving, stop. I've already heard of way too many accidents of people driving while playing Pokemon Go. I think that's...
Be safe.
Yeah, please.
Because I'm walking around while you're driving, and I don't want to get ran over.
Are you sure about that?
Yeah, I'm definitely sure. I don't want to
drive under the influence of Pokemon Go, please. Yes.
I've actually seen road signs in areas that says the Pokemon will still be there when you get there, or things like that. I think Houston had a number of them.
So are gaming apps, an opportunity? I mean, or is it just that Pokemon just has a great brand behind it and it just kind of took off?
Pokemon has a great brand behind it, and it has a great aspect. And the idea of forcing that movement and the energy and the walking, it's something that's really needed in today's day and age. There's a lot of people sitting inside, a lot of people sitting on a computer. Get up and get moving, and that premise behind it has been it's got a really good message that's going on behind it. And so I think there's always room for gaming. I think there's room for apps in almost every single industry. You talk about music, movies, social networking. It's all there. It's just a matter of either taking an idea that's fresh and new, or taking an idea that already exists, and how do you make it one step better? And I always like to tell people that Facebook wasn't the first social network. They just did it better.
Right.
And Twitter just took one aspect of Facebook, the posting, and did it better. Instagram did the pictures part and just did it better. And that's why these different apps start to grow and get into the billion-dollar valuations, because they find ways to do things better, and it's really easy to take that. And if there's people here who are listening who have the funding or who have time and want to run these but don't necessarily have the idea, reach out to us as well, because we have plenty of people with ideas, or I even have multiple of my own ideas that I'd love to help get to market, and just need the right people to actually be that CEO behind it.
Yeah, I think Nintendo really, did what they've been trying to do with the Wii system, is get people off their butts, but they've achieved it with Pokemon Go. And then I've been wanting to ask you for a long time. You always talk about like taking something existing and making it better. Is there a lot of room for like with the Pokemon game, an add-on app? Do you run into a lot of that, and do you help people develop add-on apps for something like a Nintendo product, or does it have to be a product that exists that they've already made? You know what I mean?
Oh no, we'd be very happy to help develop an add-on app, and we've come into it a couple times where people want to develop an add-on something, whether it's a Facebook type app or you could build onto an existing platform, and that's the way a lot of these developments are being done nowadays. And if you look at the big ones, is the key word is a platform, and a platform is something that can grow and scale, and you can build onto it, and it's real, and then you can build additional applications on top of it, rather than just a standalone application. And so that's really a hot buzzword that goes on out in Silicon Valley and through the big developers. And
somebody really needs to make a safety app to go with that Pokemon thing.
That's where Josh's brain is going right there, an add-on app to the Pokemon Go for safety.
Oh, well,
almost like like how some cars have the reverse cameras. Like we need something like that for Pokemon Go.
Well, Josh, if you want to talk about it, I'm very happy to help develop it. I can only imagine there are ways to do it where it would shut down if you're going over a certain speed, and I don't think that there's many humans that run more than 20 miles an hour.
Let me take a quick break here. Currently talking to Brian Kornfeld, founder and CEO of Popkorn Apps, and you can learn more about him over at popcornapps.com. Be sure to put a K in Popcorn or give him a call at 727-415-6705. Again, 727-415-6705. You're listening to That Business Show. Jamie Meloni, where business becomes show business.
I knew Mom wanted to stay at home. It's the center of her family, her life. But helping Mom stay in her home while managing mine was just too much. Honestly, it wasn't just about me. Mom didn't want me to be her caretaker. She wanted me to be her daughter. I felt so alone until I found out about Home Instead Senior Care. When we met the people at Home Instead, we just knew they were different. The experience was personal, and most importantly, for Mom and me, I get to be her daughter again.
Home Instead Senior Care. To us, it's personal.
At Vein 911, we will help you feel great again. Do you have restless legs, night leg cramps, or ankle swelling? Restless legs, cramping, swelling, and tired heavy legs are often symptoms of hidden vein disease. You do not have to have visible bulging veins to have the symptoms of vein disease. The vein care specialists at Vein 911 are uniquely qualified to evaluate and treat your veins. Are you unhappy with your previous vein treatment? Vein 911 succeeds where others fail. Call Vein 911 today at 855-VEIN-911. That's 855-834-6911 to book your free consultation. Vein 911. We will help you feel great again.
How many times have you said to yourself, I wish there was an app for that? Stop wishing and start making the world better. Turn your brilliant idea into a profitable business by using Popkorn Apps. Their affordable app design will help get your blue sky idea or proven business to the next level at a fraction of the cost of other developers. They will help you get through all the steps needed to make your thoughts become live. See them at popcornapps.com with a K in popcorn, or call them at 727-415-6705 for your free consultation and pop your kernel of an idea into $1 million business and a world changer starting today.
Teresa Turner is a certified public accountant and the founder of Tax Happens, a boutique-style CPA firm providing small businesses and individuals with hands-on, personalized tax and accounting services. Although we would love to tell you how happy their clients are, we would like you to see for yourself. Tax Happens has 21 Google reviews and a 4.8-star Google rating, 17 Yelp reviews and a 5-star Yelp rating, 38 Facebook reviews and a 4.9-star Facebook rating. What sets Tax Happens apart is number 1, upfront pricing, 2, clear deadlines, 3, personally available year-round, and number 4, a willingness to empower clients to do as much or as little as they desire. Visit taxhappens.com for more information.
Savvy business owners utilize technology to connect with customers, communicate among teams, and collaborate with partners. Even with advances in technology, you all know it's not infallible. Where do you turn when your technology starts working against you? Who do you depend on to keep your team productive? Don't wait until your technology fails you. Get ahead of the crisis and contact the professionals at Alpha Computing Solutions so they can show you how to keep your technology running smoothly. Visit them online at www.alphacomputing.com.
Have you ever tried to buy a home for your family only to find out that you don't qualify for a mortgage loan? You thought that after 20 years as a customer of your bank, they would help you when you needed it the most, right? Unfortunately, the banks of today are not the banks of our parents and grandparents, and our relationships with them just don't matter anymore. My name is Frank Cotto, and I'm the president of the Lincoln Lending Group. We all may need a bank, but we also need a Frank, and that's what I'm here to do for you today. Lincoln Lending Group will waive all of your lending fees, which include your mortgage, application fee, your underwriting fee, processing fees, and any bank points. Just call 813-MORTGAGE. You drop the E, and we'll drop the fee.
From the Bright House Networks Traffic Center.
Crash off to the side on southbound Veterans Expressway / State Road 60 as you approach 275. This, of course, just south of the airport entrance, and slow traffic through this area. Also off the Howard Franklin Bridge in this same area. Very slow from the end of the bridge to West Shore. Seeing those delays on westbound I-4 approaching downtown Tampa. And also a crash in the clearing stages in Pinellas County on Bryan Dairy and Starkey. See traffic problems? Call the injury firm of Abrahamson, Utica, Hillsborough Traffic Tip Line 866-545-9595.
This report is brought to you by Compassion International. There is a little boy or girl living in poverty right now. They don't have enough to eat, are sick, and can't go to school. And you can release them from that poverty when you become a sponsor with Compassion International. Find out how at compassion.com/radio.
Today, a 40% chance of showers and thunderstorms, high 93 with a heat index above 100. Tonight, partly cloudy, low 78, and tomorrow, a 40% rain chance, high 92.
You're listening to That Business Show with Jamie Meloni on 1250 Wins WHNZ. Missed a show? Then head over to TampaBayRadio.com, where all shows are available on demand. Once again, here's your host, Jamie Meloni.
And we're back to That Business Show with Jamie Meloni, where business becomes show business. Currently talking to Brian Kornfeld, founder and CEO of Popkorn Apps. Learn more at popcornapps.com. Be sure to put a K in popcorn. Now, Brian, you come back. You come to us with a tremendous background in aerospace engineering, and I know design methods are probably something near and dear to your processes that you put forth. Tell us about some of the different design methods that you utilize with these apps.
It's a great question. I was talking with someone who I'm developing a website for, a very functional website. It's going to have a lot of features, a lot of bells and whistles that's going into it. And she had said that she wanted it done in a short period of time and wanted it live so she could start getting a user base going in the next month or two. And I said, to get everything you want done in there, to go live, that would be virtually impossible. But we could do what's called an agile development. And she said, well, agile, what does that mean? I mean, that just sounds faster. Well, agile development is something that's really come along in a lot of different development worlds over the last few years, which is more of a feature-based development. And what the goal is you start by getting a usable product. So you get a minimum viable product, something that users can use but might not have too many features, something that works. And then you start adding one feature at a time. And you do the design and the development of each feature one by one, and you start getting each feature live. So you might start with just a base website, and then you might add a way to connect people, and then you might add a way for people to process a payment, then you might add another bell and whistle, then you might add a share to Facebook. And each time you're adding a new feature, you can add each feature in a shorter period of time. It has a number of different benefits, the first of which is that you're getting real-time user feedback. So you might have a feature that you think you absolutely need, and then users are going to tell you that you need something else, so something that you had thought about doing much later or you hadn't even thought about, you could then bring in and actually add into your development in a much earlier time frame. The second is the continual level of updates, and the more you're updating something, the more likely you are to have users come back and reuse something another time through. And the third is you might really not be adding then features that won't be used or that could be duplicate, and you can go ahead and fix features that had already been previously developed. So Agile it's a really strong method of development. It's something that really had come along over the last few years. The old school way of developing was think about everything, design everything out, develop everything, then test everything together. And now it's a lot of the development houses around the world are using this one-by-one type development and seeing a lot better results, not only in the development cost, the development timeline, but also the happiness and the usefulness to the users.
What's the difference between Agile and a beta, or are they the same thing?
A beta can really be a grouping of different Agiles. A beta is a test. So a beta test is really the secondary test, where an alpha test would be the initial test that you do within your house before you start releasing to other people, and beta would be your initial release out to the world where other people can start to test it. An Agile, in a beta test, it might be one step of the Agile. It might be in the early on phases when you're first in a go live. Or you could do this Agile development, and you can start to have different feature by feature, but still only telling more and more people about it and build it into a beta test. The beta, though, tends to just be, that is a test versus the actual way that you're doing the development and the timeline of your development.
So the way that your mind thinks as an engineer, very process-oriented, can really complement an abstract or an artistic thinker, and that's typically what, the person who comes up with a good app idea has, and it kind of may overwhelm them to think all these different, I got to do this, got to do that, because you think, linearly in like a straight line, whereas an abstract thinker will just get overwhelmed with all these different ideas.
Right, and there's a number of different features that have to build up and to grow into a vision. And I like to tell people to dream big and have a huge vision and think bigger than you really want to get there. And actually, I heard a great quote earlier this week, or maybe it was late last week. It was actually on a local sports radio show by Willie Taggart, the USF football head coach. And he had said, and this is a shout out to my alma mater, that his good friend Jim Harbaugh, go Blue, gave a good quote that said, if your friends aren't laughing at you when you tell them your vision, you're not dreaming big enough.
That's a good quote.
And that's it's really something that's interesting to think by. And
I dream huge then.
And we all laugh at you for it, Josh. And so it's a good way to think when you're thinking of these developments. So think on that large level and think about just where you can go, but understand that when you get into the development, you're going to have to get there not necessarily all at once, and go feature by feature. And especially if you're going to go with Popkorn Apps, we're going to help you get there, and we're going to help you grow, and we're going to help school and teach different ways to get there in different ways that can save you money, and maybe not get all of those features that you would want in the first release, but help you grow. And that way it really gives a lot of benefit to your user base, because the users will continually want to come back and help see these features as you're building onto them and as you're building your application.
And they can come to you with just the idea. They don't have to put much more effort into it. Just come to you with an idea and have a conversation.
If you come to me with an idea, we can have an initial conversation. Happy to always have an initial conversation and see where we could take it. See how we can best get your idea to market in a timely fashion and an affordable way, something that can work for you.
All right. Sounds good. Good interview again with Brian Kornfeld, a regular contributor here to the program on That Business Show. So, Brian Kornfeld, thank you so much.
Thank you.
And again, founder and CEO of Popkorn Apps. Learn more at popcornapps.com. Be sure to put a K in popcorn, or give him a call, 727-415-6705. 727-415-6705.